and that it's not as authentic. So I speak. I speak as I am. I teach how I teach. I'm both a student and a teacher. And what I'm trying to teach you is how to learn from you. How to handle pressure based upon lessons you've already gotten in your life, whether you remember or not. I want you to remember. I want you to go back and find it. It may take some time. You've got to be patient. You can't play guitar right off the bat. The results will take care of themselves. If you express yourself with the proper means, you will have the correct illusion of an end. Do you understand that? If you focus on the end, your means will get screwed up. If you focus on the means, meaning have faith, that's where trust comes into play. Faith in your instinct, in the expression of love. If you believe that love is the superior consciousness, then you have to trust it. You have to extend faith to your spirit, to the truth. Love is interchangeable with truth. People misunderstand that. They've been misled. It's not their fault. But they have a belief. They've maybe heard me say something about unconditional love. But the problem is that people have a belief that unconditional love means unconditional fluff. Try substituting the word love with the word truth, and then say it. Unconditional truth. Love doesn't go around and act fluffy-duffy. Love does what's appropriate in a given moment. Sometimes you may seem to be rude to somebody. Why that was needed, you may not know. But it knows. Trust love in the moment. So I had to make a decision. I cannot control my experience. This I understand. I cannot control what happens in my reality. My mind may affect what happens, but I really have no control over it. So what do I have control over? What I give to it, how I perceive it. When they say he who overcometh, what is it that you think you're overcoming? What is the ego other than submitting to the collective input you've had from your reality since day one? That's the ego. This idea of dismantling the ego completely is wrong. I use my ego all the time. Personality's still there. I'm not a moron. I know how to interact. You're not going to lose your mind unless you're part of some cult that tries to brainwash you. When I say the ego is the problem, what I mean by that is believing that you are your ego. For to believe that you are your ego means that you have allowed society to tell you what you are in a prison system. And that's wrong. Your objective is for you to tell society yourself what you are, regardless of its input. That is what honesty is. Where you express yourself, how you truly feel, what you know, regardless of your reality. You are not where you are. You are not what you experience. You are the experiencer. If you let your experience change you and tell you what you are, then you become the experience, and that's how you get caught in the web. If you're constantly running from pain and chasing pleasure, and think that that is somehow your identity, you're in the web. This is very important. Very important. You can't change what happens to you. In the sense that your ego does create your life here. Through the law of karma and a law of attraction, which is an imposition on you, by the way. It's an imposition. It's wrong. Stop watching The Secret. It's wrong. Anything you want to manifest out of the ego is just an accident waiting to happen. It's only a matter of time before you impose upon another's will, and they know that. When you manifest out of love, love takes priority. It will manifest correctly whether you understand it or not. So your mind creates your reality. So if you're just mind ignoring input from spirit, you can potentially create very bad things. If you submit to the truth, which is what it comes down to, people, it's not falling on your knees and worshiping as some enslaved servant. Serving God? What? You don't serve God. You wouldn't be without God. Serve God? What? You wouldn't be without it. Women, do you have a child? Do you go through the whole process and give birth so you have your child worship you? Is that your motive? Do you make your child contract to worship you and bow down 5 times a day to you? You know, here's a good example of what I want to invoke in you with your understanding of why patience is a virtue. Now, I'd taken just a 10-minute break to go do something. I went driving and I came back. Now, in that 10-minute period, to tell you what went through my mind in 5 of those 10 minutes would take me about 3 hours of linear language, of linear speech. This is crucial, and this is why patience is needed. What happens? Well, if all of that comes into your mind, you get overwhelmed, right? Because you see things broader. And compared to how you can speak it, it's overwhelming. It's kind of like if I had an Adobe ebook that you read with an Acrobat Reader, and say it's a 20,000 page book. Now I have a memory stick and I can just plug that into your hard drive, copy and paste it onto your hard drive. Once that's done, you have the information. It took a few seconds to transfer it, and now you have 20,000 pages of information. But if you don't have a CD or DVD burner, you don't have an internet connection, and you don't have a memory stick or a floppy disk or anything like that, you have no way of transferring that information other than reading it word for word to somebody else or having them read it. The method in which you will acquire information when you extract meaning from your own life, and as you get better and better, your brain gets more efficient with it. The method in which you do that is not the same method in which you have to use to communicate that information. People get locked up. They're overwhelmed. They end up criticizing you because of their own anxiety. It's not that they don't want to tell you. I bet there are people that are part of these secret societies, like I said before, they're like, that's it, I want to tell them. And they suffer consequences if they try to do that. And if you roll your eyes at them, or they get overwhelmed because you don't want to listen to the whole thing because you believe you know, that makes them hate you even more. These people, a government agent doesn't have time to extend patience. It's not that they wouldn't want to tell the world. I bet there are a lot that do. I bet there are. But they wouldn't know where to begin. And could they extend the patience over time, knowing that they would be interfered with in ways that you don't know and they do know? When you break adherence to certain frequencies, you see things that you never would have thought possible. This is why I laugh at people. One guy sent me a message and says, is there a clear channel we can communicate on? A safe channel? I sent him a message back. I'm like, what do you mean a safe channel? He says, where we can't be detected, something safe. Those in the know laugh at that. Those who think they're in the know but aren't in the know have no idea why we're laughing. You won't understand this in the way that it is, but I will tell you this. There is no private communication. Some of you are thinking technology